Hello everybody and welcome to the live coverage of the OSCA Truck Series. Tonight it's the Championship 4 and the SR Designs 135 from virtual Kentucky Speedway on the KBueno Racing Network. And tonight, along with me, I'm Mike Goodman. Along with me is Kenneth Bueno. And tonight we have the Championship 4 here in the Bluegrass State at Kentucky. And Kenneth, it's going to get down, and this is what all the marbles come down to this. It comes down to one last race here at Kentucky. And we've seen great action at the mile-and-a-half track so far. I expect nothing different here tonight. And tonight we get to decide a champion, and it should be a real good time here, Kenneth. What are your thoughts coming into tonight?
Well, to think of just how far we came since the drop of the green flag at the Daytona International Speedway, I'd say that this season has surely gone in the way that not many would expect in a good fashion. We've seen many great finishes. We've seen many insane moments, insane battles for the lead, battles for position, wherever you have it. And tonight, I think this is going to hold a lot more weight to it, Michael, because we're going to come down to a champion at the end of tonight to cap off the first season of OSCA Truck Racing, and really to cap it off at a place like Kentucky. I've never seen a finale here at this track on this sim, but to throw it off with the way that this sort of format for this league has gone ever since we started, it is going to probably provide a lot more entertainment and a lot more fun moving forward, especially when we have these 3 and 4 fighting for that title.
Yeah, and it might be only a championship 3 here tonight, as you see the picture of the who's in the final 4. It's going to be the 42 of Vincent Isabella, the 00 Blake Barney, Gerald Campbell, who's dominated a lot of the races here so far this season, but is missing in action here tonight. And so it comes down to the 3, and then the last one is Steven Schumann in the 24 truck. So it should be interesting who can win it. So it's anyone's game out of those 3 here tonight, and looking forward to battle it out here at Kentucky Speedway. We can take a look at Kentucky Speedway here, located in Sparta, Kentucky, 1.5 miles in length. Bankings turns 1 and 2, 17 degrees. Turns 3 and 4, banked at 14 degrees. Track opened back up in June 16th of 2000, and beautiful facility. Been to a race or two there, so it's a nice track. Kind of sad not to see it on the Cup schedule anymore in real life, but awesome that, like you said, don't see too many series of throwing it back to our last race of the season going to Kentucky. So kind of cool that we're able to do that here tonight. And tonight's SR Designs 135, we have 2 halves here as usual, both 45 laps. We'll have the 5-minute halftime break. Top 4 will invert, and the first half will be 5:45 p.m. sim start time. So it'll be more of an afternoon start, and then the second one will be 9:15 sim time. So it'll be a little bit later in the afternoon. So that will be pretty interesting to see. For the most part, again, Kenneth, I think we're going to see that Talladega-esque style draft. You kind of need to draft with your buddies, especially on the short runs, and see a lot of crazy action that we've known to see so far in the OSCA Truck Series. And I expect nothing different here tonight. And with that being said, it's gonna be anyone's game. It's gonna be who's gonna finish the best out of those 3 between Barney, Schumann, and Isabella. It's gonna be hard to predict a winner. Who's gonna win this championship, because staying out of trouble, I think, is gonna be a big key here tonight.
It definitely is. And for one, we looked at all of these 3, or at least 4, before Gerald Campbell unfortunately not able to make it here tonight for the championship race. All of these drivers have sort of a different story going into this one. We have drivers that have been dominant, much like guys like Joe Campbell. Then you see kind of the fire that sparked underneath ID Racing with both Blake Barney and Vincent Isabella to get their way with wins, fight themselves for a title, and push themselves into this championship 4. And then you look at guys like Steven Schumann, kind of the underdog here, coming in from just pointing his way in, did not pick up a win in this entire season, but with the consistent finishes that he's racked up over the course of the races, he's been able to end up where he is, and as of last week, peaked himself in from Texas Motor Speedway into this race here at Kentucky. So he's made all the work happen, but tonight I think the work is going to be cut out for all 3 of these drivers. It's going to be probably at a heightened level. It's going to be even more so as we're getting very close to the green flag.
Yeah, we'll be getting ready to grid them up here very shortly as you see the cars starting to grid up on pit road. It's definitely going to be a game where you wanted those championship 3 out there. Are they going to be able to take chances here tonight? But the starting lineup for the SR Designs 135 on the pole here tonight is the 91 truck of Dennis Weeks, and alongside him, racing for Big Kitty in the 00, it's Blake Barney.
And behind them, you'll find the number 20 machine of Shane DiMantova, going to roll off from the 3rd position here tonight on the inside of row 2, followed by the number 2, David Westergreen. We've seen a lot of bad luck moments out of him this season. Surely looking to turn things around. He'll be starting on the outside of row 2 in the 4th running position.
And in row 3, starting in 5th, is going to be the 09 truck of Riley Marbello. And alongside him, starting in 6th, is the 03 of Charlie Kuzma.
Chris Jordan in the 4 machine will roll off from the 7th spot, and Brandon Dollar in the 55 returns once again to the outside of row 4. He will be from the 8th spot tonight.
Starting in row 5, in 9th spot is the 44 on the sheet, but he'll be the 32 truck, one of the blue 32 truck. It'll be Dusty Dragon Dewar. And then starting in 10th is the 52 truck. It's the kid, Gabriel Edwards.
David Carpenter in the 71 will be from the 11th spot on the inside of row 6, and then Championship 4 driver Vincent Isabella will be at the tail end of this row, starting a little bit deep in this field. Going to have to get his positions to make it here tonight in the first 2 races, but nonetheless, he will be from the 12th position here tonight.
And in row number 7 is going to be in the 13th spot is the 3 truck. It's Austin Beers. He's turned from the short track kid to Mr. Mile and a Half, but he's got his teammates battling for a championship to see what he does here tonight. And alongside him in 14th is the 90 truck of Johnny Eckert. He's usually pretty quick as well.
And there is one of the final Championship 4 drivers. Steven Schumann in the 24 will roll off from the 15th running position. Nicholas Monticelli will be 16th alongside him. Those are the only drivers to take time. Dallas Myhan, Josh Duke, Adam Tepe, all the way to 19 trucks on this field. And those last 3 did not take time. So, Mike, this is going to be very exciting. Things are going to start to amp up. 45 laps in either race, so we get to decide a champion at the end of it all.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting as they're just a couple of corners away to go to green flag racing here at Kentucky. Who's going to take home the championship? Are we going to see some spoilers here tonight? We got, again, bad luck, David Westergreen. He's starting in 4th spot. He's starting up front. He's looking to get some good runs. So there's still a lot of fun to be had, a lot of action to be had here at Kentucky, and the pace truck's going to dive off, and we're going to get going green here in the SR Designs 135. As you see the pace truck dives down to pit road, and Dennis Weeks is going to lead him to the green flag. Or actually, maybe now it's Shane DiMantova. I don't know if we have a non-gritter in Dennis Weeks. So here we got the 20 truck of Shane DiMantova inheriting the pole, and he'll lead him to the green flag as they dive down into turn 1. And it looks like Shane DiMantova is going to take the lead. And right now battling for that 2nd spot is going to be the 09 and the 00 of Blake Barney. And Marabello as well. As we've seen him run up front a couple weeks ago at Texas Motor Speedway, so he knows how to get around these 1.5 mile tracks, and he's showing it right now, working his way up into that 2nd position. But as we come to lead, take the first lap, it's going to be Shane DiMantova. But right now, as you see, he's just getting those right drafting partners right now, Kenneth, and it looks like right now Shane's kind of got the clean air in front of him, but it looks like right now the bottom's where you want to be.
Yeah, Kentucky's always known for being all the way to the inside line, as pretty much most of everybody in this field has been doing. You see Blake Barney using just a little bit up on the racetrack of the banking here, but to note, much like Texas Motor Speedway, this track kind of poses some similarities in the fact that turns 1 and 2 does not have the same banking and does not have the same approach as a driver's standpoint as opposed to turns 3 and 4. You're going to have a lot more banking, 17 degrees in fact, in turn 1, so you're going to be carrying a lot more speed. You'll see here as we ride on board with the 09 of Riley Marabello going into turn 3 and 4. Here there is less banking, so you have to be a little slower, try to arc the truck a little bit more. And Mike, as soon as we get to the tire wear, as soon as we get to long green flag runs, that's going to be key in order to get fast and at least to gain position on the racetrack. The way you arc these corners and the way you're able to really handle your truck around this 1.5 mile racetrack.
Yeah, it's going to be about conserving tires, that is for sure. And you wonder, some of these guys, you see a lot of guys charging up front. I'm just kind of looking at the scoreboard here quick. You got Dustin Dewar moving all the way up into the 4th position. Austin Beers worked all his way up into the 7th spot. and actually looking to try to take that 7th spot away from Charlie Kuzma in the 03. And you got to wonder, are they saving their tires? Are they burning them up a little bit? We've seen some of these guys, maybe Blake Barney, he fell all the way back from that 2nd starting position all the way back to 5th. Is he saving a little bit? And just a note here on that 00 racing for a championship, him and Vincent Isabella for ID Racing. And if you've watched many of our broadcasts before, you see Big Kitty did pass away last week, so they're racing with heavy hearts, but yet they want to win one last race here for Big Kitty. As you see some stats there for the 00, he's got 3 wins so far on the season, led a bunch of laps, and I was expecting to see that 00 truck up front for most of this. I mean, he's no stranger to being up front, but just as you said, you want to be. It's a bottom feeder racetrack, and starting on that outside, it looked like he was at a big disadvantage.
And he held that outside groove, so for the most part, he wasn't really able to get the runs out of the corners that a lot of others have. And you can probably temporarily fight off some drivers when you're up on that banking, especially near turns 3 and 4, where a lot of the throttle modulation happens, especially under long runs. As for Barney, especially on the fresh tires here in the opening laps, using that outside lane is probably not going to be beneficial. And now he tucks himself back to the bottom, defended himself from the 2 of David Westergreen, who we saw started just a little bit up in the front of this field. But as for Blake Barney, he was started on row number 1, already currently falling back to 5th. However, he is currently the championship leader out of everybody in terms of track position. The next driver behind him that's running for that title is 11th place Vincent Isabella, who's in a tight battle of his own.
Yeah, and he's actually in a battle right there with one of the other championship 3, and that's the 24 truck of Steven Schumann. He was in 10th place just a minute ago, getting stuck in that outside line, loses a few spots. He's going to tuck back into 13th, but he's going to put a crossover move on Gabriel Edwards and take over and move back up into that 12th spot, trying to stay as close to Vincent Isabella, one of the guys he's battling for a championship with, as Isabella's going to the front. And right now Schumann just trying to stay out of trouble and get what he can, and that's kind of what got him here into the championship 4. So hopefully he can ride it out, maybe saving his tires here a little bit. As you see one guy, Chris Jordan, man, he's been flying up through the field here as well. Started back in 7th spot, but worked all his way up into the 2nd position. He's hunting down leader Shane DiMantilva as lap number 10 of 45 here in the first heat. And of course we do have the 5-minute caution clock, so that's, if all things kind of stay the way they are right now, looks like that might become a factor here relatively soon. So he might want to get himself in position to get to the lead, because he's another guy kind of like Westergreen. He's showed up many weeks here. He's been in quite a few races, but just hasn't had that luck. He's shown some speed week in, week out, but unfortunately for him, has been involved in a lot of wrecks, not of his own doing. But it'd be nice to see Chris Jordan end this season with a good solid night here, and right now running in that 2nd position, chasing down leader Shane DiMantilva, who has the lead by just a little under 0.4 of a second right now, as you see out front of the number 4 truck of Chris Jordan. And for the most part right here, I was expecting maybe a little bit more of what we've seen at other mile-and-a-half tracks, but I think why we're seeing the field kind of single file out a little bit more, like you said, being a more of that bottom feeder style racetrack, and just more or less being less banking than most of these mile-and-a-half tracks. The new Texas, I think, what was it, the turns 1 and 2, the flatter of the 2 corners, I believe that was 20 degrees, and the most banking we're dealing with tonight, I think it was it 17 degrees?
Yeah, 17 degrees in 1 and 2, 14 in 3 and 4.
Yeah, so it's a lot flatter of a racetrack compared to a lot of the other mile-and-a-half tracks we've been to. So it's going to be more one of those, I think, tire conserving races here tonight, and maybe burn them up a little bit. Chris Jordan loses that spot, 3rd or 2nd spot. He'll fall back into 3rd behind Riley Marabello. And again, he's a guy, I think he's due for another win here. I don't think, did he win? I can't remember if he won a race or not yet this year, but he's shown some speed here at these mile-and-a-half tracks so far this season. And go ahead. Oh, I was just saying, I think it'd be fitting for him to finish the season off with a win here.
Yeah, and for the most part, we were talking about the comparisons between Kentucky and Texas Motor Speedway. You see Chris Jordan actually smacks the outside wall there at a turn 2. Riley Marabella was the driver really to talk about coming out of the Lone Star State, and he was a driver that really performed when it came down to long run speed, long run sort of strategizing, and at least keeping his truck up front with the tire conservation. That 09 was able to do it. So when you're looking at the comparisons that Texas holds to Kentucky Speedway, you probably keep your eye out on that 09 of Riley Marabella, because his performance could have rewarded him a win. It didn't necessarily do so 2 weeks ago, but as for Riley Marabella's case, if he can keep that up and performing the way he's done right now, kind of running down your race leader, he may be in that position once again.
Yeah, I mean, he was so close to getting a couple wins here. As you see Chris Jordan starting to fall back here a little bit. He's lost the 3rd spot to Dustin Dewar, about to lose the 4th spot to Blake Barney in that 00 truck, trying to hang on to the outside. But, you know, he came just shy. Oh, he did get that damage from getting in the wall. He's got some pretty heavy damage to the right front of his machine. And that looks to be hurting the handling of that truck just a little bit as he's starting to fade back a little bit here, dropping now back into the 5th position. But, you know, with that 09 truck, came so close. I think he had chances to win both heats at Texas a couple weeks ago, and unfortunately wasn't able to get it done. But yeah, showing speed here again tonight, and he's closed within a little under 0.2 of a second to Shane DiMantova in that 3rd spot. And right now, that's kind of the race we got going on here for the lead. And even I'm looking at Dustin Dewar. He's worked his way up. Oh, Jordan getting in the wall again. Wow. So yeah, he's been having a little bit of a rough night here at Kentucky. Maybe gassing it up a little bit too early coming out of the corners, and that was about the 3rd time he's hit the wall here tonight, and he's dropping back, now falling all the way back into the 8th position. So a rough start here after oh, did he get in the wall again there?
Yes, he did, and he's been really struggling with the handling of his race truck ever since he struck the wall the first time. His handling has pretty much gone all the way to 0. You see his speed also dropping off as well. There's Vincent Isabella to look for the inside. That is for what is the 8th running position on the racetrack. So once the thing gets tight, once it starts to get damaged, the handling really starts to fall off. And for Chris Jordan, that sort of hard right front contact with that outside barrier has really made his truck a handful, or at least maybe just trying to turn the race truck. It's not necessarily turning the way he wants to, but continues to fall back position. Meanwhile, sort of a top 2 spread here, Michael, and Riley Marabella slowly inching on your race leader. Shane DiMantova is ahead back to 3.
Yeah, and I forgot to check when the race started for the caution clock, but it's got to be coming out here relatively quickly, just by trying to do some quick math. And as you see the 09 truck going on the inside, oh! And as the caution clock does come out, as I was talking about it, and the 09 of Marabella was about to go for the lead when that caution clock came out. So again, long run speed, Marabella's got it, but Shane DiMantova so far able to stay out front as the caution clock comes out. But you know, if things kind of if they come down pit road, you know, they're more than likely everyone's going to take 4 tires here, Kenneth. But with what we have left in the stage, and from what we've seen so far in the first half of this race, I think this might be Marabella's time to finally pick up that win.
And you see them slowing down for the pace truck here on the back straightaway. If there's one place where Marabella can try to gain position, even if it's not in terms of on-track performance, he'll do it on pit road. And we've seen a lot of shakeups out of pit road so far this season, Mike, and I'm probably going to expect a little bit more as we're already to the halfway mark of this first race. And thinking of where the championship 4 sits, we've been watching top 2 up in this field that are not current playoff drivers. Your first one is 4th place Blake Barney. He's easily been the best performing playoff driver out of them all, and nobody is seeming to be able to catch up to him as for now, but we'll see how things shake out at pit road. Shane DiMantova will look down, possibly with some others. They'll all head down, so basically pit road will be full this time by.
Yeah, everyone is down pit road. They're going to get those fresh Goodyear tires on their race trucks and see who can win the race off. This could be a big moment especially for those guys battling for that championship spot. We do see interesting Steven Schumann staying out. I don't know if that's to try to get a lap led. Maybe some strategy going on with him. We'll find out here. Interesting move here. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's just doing that for a bonus point. As we see who's going to win the race off of pit road. See some trucks moving here. Got Dustin Dewar, Austin Beers, and off pit road, Shane DiMantova wins the race off pit road. The 09 of Riley Marabello in second off pit road, and then one of the championship contenders is going to be the 00 of Blake Barney. So he moved up one spot from where he came in. So now I guess the question is are we going to see that 24 truck dive down pit road? I think he was towards the tail end of the lead lap here. So I'm assuming he really had nothing to lose to try to get that bonus point, just to whatever he can to try to place himself ahead of these other guys to whatever we could do, because once we get restart, things could get crazy. He could be in the back of the pack and take advantage of it here. Let's see what Schumann is going to do here, and it looks like he will dive down pit road the second go around. So more of a points race. So I don't think he would have. It wouldn't have been a very good thing if he stayed out on those old tires. We've seen a lot of guys even struggling to stay on the bottom of the track. You see some stats there for Schumann. What got him here in the championship 4 or 3, I guess we can say here tonight. But Shane DiMantova leading the race. Led every lap except for the lap that Schumann just led there, staying out on pit road. So he's been dominating the race so far. But we've seen, again, Kenneth, that 09 truck, he's got something for him. But now with Blake Barney starting on the inside, I wonder if that's going to help him off on the short run once we go back to green.
It definitely might, and going down there, at least with the way he's conserved his tires, it wasn't necessarily the hardest hit off of him, and I think others definitely had worse issues. You saw Steven Schumann. His plan to stay out definitely was for points. I don't think he was going to be willing to take a risk at the midway point of this race to be on old tires, be versus everybody on new tires, and potentially cause havoc at the front of the field if someone makes a mistake. So at this point, you're thinking about getting that extra point with the way Steven Schumann is going into this race. He needs all the points he can get, because remember, it's not necessarily the playoff sort of format where you have to finish ahead of all the other championship drivers. You have to actually gain a good amount of points throughout these first 2 races here at Kentucky in order to secure yourself a title here in the OSCA Truck Series at the end of it all. So as for Steven Schumann, that extra point could make the difference between either winning a championship or potentially falling short with the way that his car has been handling so far in this first race. But I also want to talk a little bit about what's going on in chat. I saw a question by Francisco Bacchiao, works with us a couple times, and he asked us, what is the boost impression on the next-gen's car's look and drivability? Mike, I know you and I are probably very surprised that the next-gen car came out yesterday out of all days, but if you had any opinions on it, or if you already own the car, well, what do you already think about it?
I don't own the car yet. I was very surprised. Had a league race last night, and they announced it in the middle of the race. Very surprised, but I think the cars look good. From what I hear, they might have a couple bugs or issues to work out on them yet. I've seen some videos in reverse where they can get up to very high speeds, yes. And yeah. So I'm sure there's some glitches and maybe even not as most accurate, because I don't know if a lot of people know how the cars exactly handle with them just being announced yesterday, released to the public, even the real ones. So yeah, it was kind of cool. iRacing did that and kind of had the Pro Invitational for that, and it's kind of neat to get a head start and be some of the first people to race the next gen car. Kind of fun.
Yeah, it certainly is a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Yeah. And I've driven the car. I bought the Camaro last night. It's a very different car than the current Cup car, but it is kind of a fun. It's in its own fun range, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I'll have to check that out here shortly. But right now, we are going back to green flag racing, lap 25, and getting a great restart is that 20 truck of Shane DiMantova takes the lead. And he's going to take his teammate of the 00, Blake Barney, with him as they skyrocket single file down into turn 1. And look at a string of ID racing cars getting a great restart. And they're going to be 1, 2, 3 as DiMantova, Blake Barney, and Austin Beers again. the guy who's showing some great speed here at some of the mile-and-a-half tracks. Austin Baier working his way up into that 3rd position and battling for that lead now is going to be the 00 of Blake Barney, trying to get that championship. Did he lead that lap? I believe Shane DiMantova barely edged him out here. So you got 3 ID Racing trucks running up front. And then we do have Vincent Isabella, the other ID truck, one of the other ID trucks out in the field. There's a lot of them. He's worked his way up into the 5th position. And looks like Shane, he's trying to fight on that outside. Like you said, you can maybe do it, but it's how much longer can he fight for it? As you see right now, he's losing the battle by just half a truck length. As that time around, Blake Barney will get his lap led. And still battling with the 20 truck side by side with Austin Baier in tow right behind him in case one of these 2 guys slip up. But it looks like they're kind of giving each other a bunch of room. Oh! Barney thought he might have had the 20 cleared, didn't quite have him, might have messed up the entry of his corner, but it looks like he will maintain that lead, and it looks like he's got it done. But here comes once again Shane DiMantova with an awesome run off that high side. He'll take the inside line on Blake Barney, and he'll take the lead as they're heading down into past turn number 2.
And a nice crossover there by Shane DiMantova. Looked up high, went back down low at a turn 4. That was a move to give him back the race lead. But Blake Barney has been rather aggressive here to open after this. The yellow flag came out of the mid portion of this race. You got to think that he's very aggressive to go for all these points, try to take his first ever OSCA Truck Series champion, and championship would be the inaugural OSCA Truck Series champion. Still trying to work on as everybody in the top 4 have spread around. Meanwhile, everybody mostly single file. I'm going to mention one driver here, Mike, that has made a big move up to the front. That is the truck you're looking at right now. This Chevrolet Silverado, the 41 of Dallas Myhan. He started all the way back in 17th in the last 3 positions. One of the drivers that did not take time on the grid for this race in qualifying, but came back, and so far with the speed he's carried here in Kentucky tonight over the course of the first half of this first race, he's made a lot of work. He's pretty much made it pay off, and now he's currently sitting just inside the top 10.
Yeah, and we haven't seen Dallas on the racetrack a whole heck of a lot so far this season. Of course, he's one of the guys behind the scenes here for the OSCA Truck Series. Kind of cool to see him out here tonight and battling up through the field, working his way up into the 9th position. But here comes that 42 truck of Vincent Isabella battling the 09 Riley Marabello. Right now it looks like maybe Riley biding his time, sitting back in the 4th position. But there's your other championship 3 contender, Vincent Isabella. We've seen how he can work his way up through the field. And so far getting up into that 5th position. And just to note, the other championship contender, Steven Schumann, all the way back in 16th after starting in the back of the pack after staying out to lead that 1 lap. And right now just trying to get what he can in this first race here. But he's going to have to try to dig a little more, as the trucks, I think, are going to start handling a little bit different, getting a little tighter here as the runs go on. But back up front here, we've got Austin Baier getting challenged by Riley Marabello. He's going to try to make that move on the outside. Kind of unconventional for here at Kentucky, but it looks like he's going to get it done going down into turn number 3 as Baier tries to battle back. He drives in hard. Wow, kind of washed up a little bit, maybe higher than Baier wanted to go, but it looks like Riley is going to get the position and just clears him. As we're down on lap number 32 or 33, missed that one, and move the 09 truck up into the 3rd spot, and he's going to once again try to hunt down the 00 and the 20 of Barney and DiMantova. We've seen he can get it done in the first half of this heat so far, and oh, look at this, we got Vincent Isabella working his way up into that 4th position. So right now, having a little bit of trouble, Austin Baier, and we do have a caution on the speedway. Something brought, it might be, don't know if, oh man, Chris Jordan. Again, we saw the promising start kind of go awry after he got in the wall a couple times here tonight. Kind of fell back in the back of the pack, and trouble here, and brings out our 2nd yellow of heat number 1. Let's see what brought out the yellow. I'm wondering if he, I thought maybe he was going to cook it out of the corner here. And, ooh. I think that was the 55 of Brandon Dollar getting in a little hot, getting into the back end of that Ford truck of Chris Jordan, sending him around. Again, very unfortunate. This is kind of the luck that Ford truck's had a lot of the season, just not having the best of breaks, and they were trying to battle for, I believe they're around the 13th, 12th or 13th position, and getting into each other, and Chris Jordan getting the worst brunt of that. So starting had a start of a promising heat in heat number 1 here, kind of turned sour here pretty quickly for that Ford truck.
And you see it right there, extra contact with the 55, just sends him around. Also contact, I believe. That was Steven Schumann. Championship driver got into contact there with the driver of the 55. I think minimal damage here to him on this incident, but he still will have to spend time down pit road. And I believe he's exiting pit road right now in the 16th or 14th rather running position with more damage to the right side of his Chevrolet Silverado. Brandon Dollar, David Westergreen, and the 41 of Dallas Myhan end up staying out. Austin Beers, though, will win the race off pit road. So this is very interesting here, Mike, considering what we saw in that yellow. And now we're probably expecting a caution clock to come out, but 10 laps ago, probably like we've seen before, could cause a lot of chaos, especially at a track like this.
Yeah, this is where everyone's going to, different strategies. We got the top 3 staying out. You have probably a couple other guys, maybe Beers, Kuzma, Eckert taking 2 tires, because we have Shane DiMantova all the way back into the 7th spot, Blake Barney in 8th, Vincent Isabella in 9th. This kind of opens the door up a little bit as things are going to get, I think, a little bit more aggressive, as I think Brandon Dollar ended up going down pit road after that damage he suffered from that latest wreck. But even Schumann, I gotta wonder. We've seen kind of the consequences from the Ford truck getting into the wall, and how much it just kind of made his truck handle worse and worse and worse, and kind of got him into that position that he was just involved in. And with a few laps to go, it might be tough for Schumann, who's back currently as right now 13th spot, if he's going to be able to pass many cars with that damage on the right front of his truck. So we'll see what happens here, because I'm sure, Blake Barney sitting there in that 7th spot, and Vincent Isabella right behind him are going to be starting in the same row behind him. He'll be in 9th, so he'll be starting on that inside row. They're going to be duking it out, and that's where maybe trouble could arise, and that's where Schumann could pounce and be a benefactor of that. But yeah, I think we got a whole bunch of wild cards going into this. We got 2 tires, we got no tires, we got 4 tire strategies going on here. So there's a lot to be decided yet. Heat number 1, that is for sure, as we're gonna get the restart. I believe probably with we got 10 to go now, probably with around 8 laps to go. So you gotta wonder, Dallas Myhan, can he hold off the field here and try to pick up his first OSCA Truck Series win? Or is it going to be one of the guys they call 2 tires, no tires, or 4 tires? I believe we have 3 trucks in Beers, Kuzma, and Eckert, who I think took 2. And then the in 6th spot is Shane DiMantova. He's the first one who for surely took 4 tires on that pit stop. So I'm going to ask you, Kenneth, what do you think? What do you think the winning call is?
I think it's probably 4 tires here. If you're looking at some of the 2 tires, that'll probably help out significantly, especially with the amount of laps we have left. But 4 tires probably will shoot up the outside. We'll have a lot more grip on either side, and especially with the banking here, and especially with the fact that there's relatively low banking here at Kentucky Speedway. You're probably looking at the guys on 4 tires to be the best ones to go. As for Myhan and Westergreen being on the oldest tires of the field, it may just be a matter of blocking everybody, just trying to hold on to the finish. We've seen it before, but it may not be the best strategy here. Luckily for them, they're not fighting for the playoffs. They're just fighting for a win, so why not take the risk?
Yeah, you always got to take the risk and see what you can get, because you never know. But I think I agree with roughly about 8 laps to go here once we take the green. I think the 4 tires will prevail at the end of the day, but that's why they say that's why we race the race. So we'll see what the best strategy is here in the closing laps of heat number 1 of the SR Designs 135. And the pace truck's ready to dive down pit road as they're coming through turn number 4 to take the green flag on lap number 38. And that 41 truck of Dallas Myhan, he's going to try to get a good start here, and he will, as he'll lead him down to the green flag as we come into lap number 28. Westergreen kind of stuck on that outside, trying to hold off that 3 truck of Austin Baier diving down to turn 1. I don't think he's going to be able to do so. And the 3 truck of Baier is going to get by, makes quick work of that 2 truck on the outside. And right now he's going to be chasing down that 41 truck of Dallas Myhan going down into turn number 3. And ooh, Shane DiMantova, he's jumping up there, worked his way all the way up into that 4th spot already. So we see what these fresh tires can do as we come down, take lap number 39. Oh, Eckert's trying to throw block as best as he can, but how much longer can he hold that fight? They're diving down into the corner. Oh, it's getting close between the 20 and the 90. Oh, 90 does go around. They make contact. They're able to keep it straight. And wow, that was a great save by the 90 truck of Eckert, but Austin Baier is going to take the lead with his 2 tires. But you got to wonder if that slowed up the 20, or if the 20's got any damage on his truck, and Kuzma up to 3rd. It doesn't appear to be, but those cars taking 2 tires are trying to fight him off, and here comes Blake Barney shooting down the outside, battling for the 4th spot with Westergreen. Looks like he's going to get a good run off the corner with that fresh rubber, and he'll take away that 4th spot. So man, this different tire strategies made this race a lot crazier than what we started out with.
They definitely did, and one of the drivers who took some of the fresher tires, that is the driver you're seeing up at the front. Got over the 41 of Dallas Myhan to take the race lead, and now with 5 laps to go, Austin Baier is looking once again to another race win in the OSCA Truck Series season. DiMantova barely escaped that contact with Johnny Eckert with minimal damage, but he's mired back to 5th, and question knows, or at least God knows how long it'll take for him to find his way back up to the field. Blake Barney to 4th, but as for the top 3, they're spreading away with the 3 car up ahead leading the way.
Yeah, the 3 cars still leading, and it's going to be a matter of time. You got Beers having about a little over a second, half a second lead over the 41. So it's going to be a matter of how much longer can Blake Barney and DiMantova take advantage of the fresh 4 tires, and can they catch that 3 truck? Again, the short track kid turning to the 1.5 half track kid, because he's been good at every time we've been to one of these tracks, and showing it once again, taking the 2 tire strategy. Started all the way back to 13th. He shot his way up to the front relatively early, and able to take the 2 tires and get the lead here as we're winding the laps, 3 to go. Can he hold on? Kuzma gaining a little bit, not much, but I think the big question is, can guys like Blake Barney, can he catch? He's moved up into that 3rd position past Dallas Myhan, but right now DiMantova, who dominated much of that first half of this heat, he's fallen all the way back into the 6th position, and got passed by the 09. Oh, there's contact there with 3 wide.
4 wide.
Well, 4 wide is Kuzma kind of falling off. Oh, there's contact. Oh, Kuzma goes around. Yeah, 4 wide. That wasn't gonna work. And oh man, Brandon Dollar gets into another wreck. Looks like he's done. Man, I think that was between the 03 of Kuzma, and I don't know if that was the 96 of Tepe. I believe that he got into. Man, heavy contact for the 03 truck, trying to hang on. Or that was a different truck. That wasn't. They have similar painted David Carpenter having a similar painted truck as Kuzma. That's where I got confused. So it's the 71. Hard to see the number. Oh man, that was 93 of Monticelli. That's where I got confused. But that contact, trying to stay off each other. Westergreen wisely backed out of that situation. But Westergreen back. You see Westergreen backing out, and I think the 71 and 52 made a little contact. He shot up the racetrack, got in the 93, and a chain reaction going. So we'll see a green-white checkered finish. Oh man, hard hit, kind of a domino effect here going on in this wreck, and man, oh man. Trying to see it one more time from the onboard of Westergreen, and he's wisely here backs off. You can see here Oh, he was about to get sandwiched by the 52 and 71, able to stay off of him. And, oof, almost gets hit again by the 93 and able to stay off the wall. So good driving for the 2 truck of David Westergreen to stay out of it, but loses a lot of track position, and it will end the night of the 55 truck of Brandon Dollar and possibly the 71 truck as well of David Carpenter.
Yeah, that was a big hit. I think the smart decision there, high IQ, 4 wide going into turn 1, knowing that that was not going to work. David Westergreen ends up kind of stomping off the throttle and at least moving himself out. I think it was that slight contact, though, with David Carpenter that sent Carpenter going into Gabriel Edwards and then back up the track to the 93 of Monticelli. That's kind of what kicked things off. But Westergreen was just trying to keep out and watch for himself. As you see, 2 other trucks here with some minimal damage. Johnny Eckert and championship driver Steven Schumann coming out of pit road. Westergreen and Carpenter also a handful of others that did go down pit road. But as for most of this field, a lot of them did not decide to go down. So I guess their call 11 laps ago was their call to finish this race. And now with 3 laps to go, most of the field is going to be filled with old tires, and maybe even older tires with some new ones all the way at the back of the field. So I don't think it's a question of tires. I think it's a question of just how you can launch, how you can execute, and how you're going to position yourself for the end of this one.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised, guys, like, the 09 of Marabello and Shane DiMantova with those 4 fresh tires didn't work up as quick as I thought. So, I mean, I kind of agree with the strategy of at least the top 8, maybe market 9 with Monticelli staying out on the racetrack too, after even getting involved in that wreck a little bit. But I don't think a lot of these guys are going to have enough time with this fresh rubber to work their way up for a win, maybe gain a few spots from where they were running. So I think the winning move is going to come from at least these guys in the top 5, top 6, even Mantova. We've seen DiMantova, we've seen how well he's run so far once he was out front, but he's having a little bit of trouble in traffic. But we still could see some fireworks and a lot of jockeying for position here, because we still have the 2 trucks that are in the lead. They still only have the right side tires are their freshest tires. We have third and fourth of Barney and Marabello. They have 4 fresh tires from the last caution, and then you have Dallas Myhand, who's stayed out. He's only pitted once under the first caution at about lap 20, so he's got the oldest tires in the top 8. So we'll see how he hangs on. And then DiMantova did take those 4 fresh tires again as well under the previous caution before this one. So it's going to be interesting to see who can win, and you see Vincent Isabella, I think, right behind DiMantova as well, as we're doubling up to go back to green. So I think we bunched them up once more here. I think we're due for some more excitement here to finish off these last couple laps here of the SR Designs 135 for heat number 1.
Yeah, things are going to get very exciting, and what I'm going to watch for here is probably not just a battle for the lead. I know Beers can probably get a good one out of this one, but for Blake Barney, Vincent Isabella, they're fairly close on the racetrack, and that's probably the closest I think that I've seen them all race long here tonight. So between these 2 ID Racing trucks, both sporting Big Kitty on the side and on the hood as well in commemoration, they will probably be at least neck and neck for the points and trying to get as much points as they can. Steven Schumann does not necessarily have the best race here tonight and probably going to look for the best. But also watch this. Top 4 will invert after this first race. So where Blake Barney finishes, or also where Vincent Isabella finishes, if they're able to snatch the top 4, they will invert and they will start in the top 4 once this next race begins. That's going to be very key if you want to get some extra points, lead laps, and be a champion at the end of the night. Yeah,
that could be. I'm sure that Blake Barney is going to try to stay in that top 4, and you're probably going to see Vincent Isabella dig pretty hard to try to get in that top 4 spot to get inverted as well. But here we go, getting ready to go back green. We're going to settle it out here in the SR Designs 135 heat number 1. Oh, you see Barney getting in the back end of that 3 truck as we're about to go back to green flag racing. There you see the 3 truck getting a good launch, coming down to the green flag with the green-white checkered. So next time around, we'll get the white flag lap. Can Austin Beers hang on? Does Blake Barney have any say in this, as he's going to shoot down on the inside for the 2nd position as they come out of turn number 2? It's going to be Beers, Barney, And then, whoa, Barney shooting down on the inside. He's going to take advantage of the inside spot with those 4 tires. Can he make it stick? And you got the 09 of Riley Marabello trying to get a run on the outside. Looks like he'll be able to do it. He's going to take that second spot. We take the white flag. He's going to hunt down the leader of Austin Beers, and he looks like he might get that inside line advantage, almost getting in the back of Austin Beers coming out of turn number 2. Looks like Beers is going to hang on to that spot for now as we're coming down to the backstretch. Beers trying to block that inside line, and looks like Barney once again trying to dive to the inside. One last ditch effort to get one more spot. I don't think he's going to get the run out of the corner. So coming down to the checkered flag, looks like Austin Beers is going to, oh, there's a wrecked truck on the bottom of the racetrack. Almost wrecks the race, almost gets in the way. But Austin Beers able to hang on to take heat number 1. Marabello second, bridesmaid again. Barney finishing 3rd. Kuzma coming home in 4th, so he'll start on the pole. And Vincent Isabella finished 1 spot outside that invert spot. He comes home in the 5th position. So, man, crazy race there. And I thought maybe that lap car was almost going to have a play. Was almost right where those guys wanted to go on the apron to protect that bottom, and almost played a role into the finish of this race. But Austin Beers, the 1.5 mile kid, gets it done once again.
Yeah, that was a wild one to the end. I told you it was going to be about executing the race and positioning yourself in the right way. Marabello did everything right, and if you probably had one more lap, we probably would have seen a very different result than what we ended up seeing. Luckily for both Beers and Marabello, they'll be starting in the top 4 nonetheless, so they both will have another chance for Beers to defend his win, for Marabello to try to get his first. And that was also key there for Blake Barney, going to start also in the top 3 once he stabled into that top 4 in that first race. So things are going to look very well for him, and he's probably putting his foot in the right direction to try and get his first ever OSCA Truck Series Championship here from Kentucky.
Yeah, he's got himself going off on the right foot so far here tonight as they are getting ready. Now we're under the lights. Trucks might be handling a little bit better now that it's cooled off here a little bit, and we'll see what they have in store. But right now, it looks like it's going to be a battle between the 00 and the 42, as I believe Schumann ended up that last race. Where did he end up? He ended up in the 10th position. So we have 4th. All right, I'm going to make sure I got this right. Barney ended up 3rd, Isabella 5th, and then the other championship 3, he ended up in 10th. So they all ended up in the top 10. So I'm gonna expect that 24 truck to take some big chances here going into heat number 2, but we'll get to that in just a little bit. About 3 minutes left of the warm-up, but until then, we're going to take a quick break here on the KBRN network, and we'll be right back after these messages.
We've been waiting for this moment. Generations of innovation all coming together in one place. A pedigree of more than 70 years of NASCAR Cup Series history, from the past to the present, from Petty to Earnhardt to Elliott. Today, there's no more waiting. The future of NASCAR is now. Drive the next-gen cars today on iRacing and step into the next generation of racing.
Coverage of the OSCA Truck Series on the KBueno Racing Network is brought to you by iRacing. Join thousands of sim racers across the world and start your sim racing career today at iRacing.com. And by Supermix, concrete blocks on demand. And as we're getting ready to get going back to green flag racing here in heat number 2, the finishing up warm-up. And the other thing I guess I kind of wanted to mention here, you can we've already brought up one question here tonight for the hashtag AskKBRN. And again, if you want to join the conversation with us up in the booth, you can do so by using the hashtag AskKBRN. You can put any question you like, followed by the hashtag, and we'll answer it to the best of our ability. That's hashtag AskKBRN for anything you want to ask. And especially how we've seen the heat number 1 kind of play out. One of the questions we did have out there by Francisco Baccello, I'm hoping I pronounced that somewhat close, Baccello, and he was asking, do you think track position will matter more than tires if the tires are less than 10 laps old? And it was probably asked a little bit ago here. I kind of missed the question, so I do apologize to that one, Francisco. But I would say, as we kind of seen there, probably a little bit of mix because the 09 truck had the freshest tires there. I think track position probably means it depends on what's between. I think there was guys who stayed out on those old tires, and those guys with 2 tires, being a little bit fresher on the outside. But I think it all depends on who starts around you and how that's going to play out. But I think for the most part, if your tires are under the 10 lap mark, I would say track position is probably going to be key, but you're also going to have those friends that have those same set of tires behind you. I think if you're starting on the pole with 10 lap old tires and the guy on the outside starting with fresh rubber, he might get the advantage pretty quick. But if you got a couple friends with you, maybe the top 4 stay out with a little bit older tires, I think track position is going to be key there. What are your thoughts there, Kenneth?
Yeah, that's going to be very key there, and especially with the disparity in tires. If you go look at tracks like this, tracks like Texas, some of the other 1.5 miles that we visit, a lot of them have been very abrasive, and I think in Kentucky it also pretty much chews the tires up. So 10-lap difference, even a 1-lap difference is so big between how much grip you have on the racetrack versus how much grip you've already lost if you're on those older tires already on a run. So if you're on, let's say, 2 tires, you could keep that strategy, and for guys like Austin Beers, for guys like even others that took 2 tires as well, they had that sort of advantage even still because one side of their car has fresh tires, the other one doesn't, so they still have some fresh grip. But when you take 4 tires, there's nothing better than it, and it really, if you're going to take any other call, it's going to be for strategization purposes or to try to stay out on front. We'll try to see if strategy ends up in this play here tonight. Charlie Kuzma and Blake Barney to the inside and outside of run number 1 will lead us to the green in heat number 2.
Yep, and Charlie Kuz is going to lead him to the green flag here in the SR Designs 135 heat number 2, but a great restart on the outside this time for the 00 truck of Blake Barney, and he's going to try to get that momentum out of turn number 2. But again, looks like Vincent Isabella loses it a little bit. There's a big crash behind him. Oh, man, a big one here to start off this race. I think Dewar's involved. There was the 90 truck of Eckert. Schumann, the other championship. Oh, man, and he's got big smoke for that 24 truck. His bid for a championship ends up right there in this wreck. It looked like the 42 of Vincent Isabella was just trying to dig to whatever he could get, lost the back end of his truck, and a lot of chaos ensued behind him. So crazy way to start off here in heat number 2. With a lot of championship implications. As you've seen, he was trying to be aggressive, which he needed to be to get ahead of his teammate Blake Barney, who he's battling that championship with, and he gets a little loose. I think Dewar gets into the back of him. Shane DiMantova gets in the wall, and then just the chaos ensues behind him. The 90 truck again of Eckert. Beers gets, I believe, a little bit in the wall. Tepe gets into a couple trucks as well. Heavy damage. I believe that's the 41 of Dallas Myhand. And here is the onboard of Steven Schumann, our championship contender. Beers gets into the wall, gets down, and then smacks that wall. Oh, man, takes a couple of hard hits. and will end his night early. So, unfortunate for a lot of those trucks involved. So you see there you see the 24 truck going down pit road, and his night's going to end early. Very unfortunate for that 24 truck who usually had some pretty good luck to kind of bring him into the championship contention, but unfortunately tonight his bid will end early. So with that being said, more or less, I think it's going to be a lock of a race between the 00 and the 42. So I don't think with that contact that Vincent Isabella had, he should be in too rough of shape. He's kind of the one that took probably the least amount of damage here. So I think he still should be able to fight for it, but he's going to have some work to do. I think he's back in 6th. He's came down pit road. As long as you see a couple other trucks, the 4 truck of Chris Jordan. There you see Vincent Isabella catching up with the field. But kind of a crazy way. It might even look like the 32 truck. Oh, he does have some heavy damage to the back end of his machine. So that might play a factor into the championship race here. So kind of set back. But what I was going to say, it looked like maybe that 32 truck of Dustin Dewar, I don't know if he kind of went out, if there was a netcode situation there, but it kind of all looked a little crazy there. What are your thoughts, Kenneth?
Yeah, it definitely was wild. And we saw it a little bit earlier with Shane DiMantova and Johnny Eckert, to the way that it went on the positive side. This one went all the way to the negative. When we saw everybody save their race trucks, we're like, oh my goodness, that could have been very big. That could have been a very large crash. And then come to this second race, then it ensues the large wreck with a lot of drivers, including Steven Schumann. And you have to feel for Steven Schumann, the way his season has gone, the way he's pushed himself and kept fighting regardless of situation to get to this championship 4. And now his first race doesn't seem to go as great as he anticipated, and now this second race goes up in smoke as he gets his car completely destroyed in that first wreck here in the opening laps of this race. So for Steven Schumann, this may be his title hopes completely dashed for the most part. He rides 11th with some damage, but again, he continues to pin and pit, so he may go a lap down or more here, and it could definitely set his night into stone, especially in terms of his championship hopes. So I guess maybe it was a championship 3 with Joe Campbell missing tonight. Maybe we end up with a championship 2 with the way Steven Schumann's night has unfortunately gone.
Well, I've seen that smoke there, so he must have got it mostly fixed. Able to stay on the lead lap. It's still going to be an outside shot, so at least there's a percentage of chance there to maybe get lucky here. But as you said, unfortunate for how this heat started out for him. Needed a great run to have a shot at the championship, and unable to do so. You see Shane DiMantova getting one of his laps back after getting involved in that wreck as well. You see the 3 truck of Austin Beer, some heavy damage to that truck as well. So I believe we still have, I think, 13 trucks still running out on the racetrack. I think Steven Schumann is going to be the guy that's going to be on the tail end lead lap. Hopefully he has enough power to try to stay in contention as much as he can. Damage doesn't look as bad as what I first initially thought, but we'll see if he can battle for that championship. As we're getting ready to go back green, flag racing here with Charlie Kuzma still holding on to that top spot, but he was getting a whole lot of heat from that big kitty Toyota Tundra in the 00 truck of Blake Barney. Again, paying homage to his former crew tree that led to ID Racing to a lot of victories so far this season, and hopefully for the memory of Big Kitty, they can pull off a championship here tonight in honor of the legend that is Big Kitty. We'll see if he can get it done here, or maybe even his teammate Vincent Isabella, if he can get it done here as well, sporting a similarly colored or painted truck in the blue truck in that 42, starting outside of row number 3. Let's see if Riley Marabella too can get it done. Here, there's the 2 Cheaties cars, the 03 of Kuzma and the 71 of David Carpenter, fooling me with the blank numbers there. As we're going back green flag racing in the SR Designs 135 here, coming to lap number 6. And Kuzma's going to lead him to the green flag, gets a better jump here on the 00 this time. As they're heading down into turn 1, Marabella now, he's going to try to take advantage of that inside row, getting a better start. He's going to try to make quick work of the 00 of Blake Barney. Can he do so? Coming out of 2. Looks like he's able to get him clear. Is he going to take a chance? Yes, he will. He'll cut in front of that 00 truck, but he's going to try to protect that bottom going down into turn 3, as he's going to hunt down that 03 of Charlie Kuzma, and he's going to try to get there, get a good run off, try to feed off the bottom. We've seen he can get down on the long runs. He's going to try to make quick work on the short runs here, but Kuzma's going to lead that lap number 6, as now here comes the 09 of Marbella going to the inside. Can he get the run off? He's got help behind him from the 00 of Blake Barney, because they're side by side going down the backstretch. Who's he going to help? No, he's going to make it 3 wide. Barney for the lead, trying to. He was going to take a look. Maybe thought better of it, as he's going to let these 2 guys duke it out of Kuzma and Marbello as they're coming down to the stripe. And I think Kuzma's going to have a little bit of an advantage to lead that lap, but man, he's getting all he can handle right now from that 09 of Marbello, and he can't quite get that thing to stick on the bottom to get that run off. And right now, this is probably the best we've seen. I think D. Mantova was doing a good job holding off battles on that outside, but Kuzma doing a great job trying to hold off that 09 of Marbella. We've seen how much speed he's had in heat number 1. It looks like he's going to get a little bit of advantage to the line. Does he get it? I think Kuzma's going to take it, but here comes Barney on the inside. He's going to make it a 3 wide battle for the lead going down into turn number 1. It looks like Barney, he's going to motor down on the inside. He put the 00 truck to the lead on lap number 9, and here comes Vincent Isabella. Where did he come from with the damage rear end at all? He's going to try to go to second, taking it from the 09. He's going to try to fight in the bottom, but now we're going to see the 09 truck battle on the outside. But man, these two Big Kitty trucks on the inside, they're fighting with a lot of spirit in memory of Big Kitty.
And these 2 IRD Racing trucks are powering their way to the front of this field. You saw that move to the inside. They gave Blake Barney the lead and a 3 wide dash for the 42 of Vincent Isabella, and still trying to put work to the 09 of Riley Marabello. They are all bunched up the top 4. You can put them under a blanket into turn 3 and 4. And Kuzma did a magnificent job holding up top. Almost contact between Marabello and the 42 of Isabella. Riley Marabello will get a good run off turn 4. Marabello will lead the lap this time by.
Man, and he's trying to give Barney a bad angle going down to the corner as they almost make contact. I hear he might have got a little loose. That might have led to him coming down into that 00 Blake Barney as they battle side by side down the backstretch. Vincent Isabella still trying to drive hard to take that top spot for the championship away from Blake Barney, and he'll do so. He'll take the second spot coming down to lap number 12. And it seems like compared to what we've seen, I don't know if it's the day to night transition that we're seeing, a lot more side-by-side action as Vincent Isabella, he wants more. He wants to take that lead. He's going to go on the inside of the 09 of Riley Marbella. He's got the advantage here, but will Marbella get a run off the corner? It looks like he'll do so as Barney's going to try to take him 3 wide, or he's thinking about it again, as he's not shy of going 3 wide here tonight, as we've seen. But man, oh man, these guys are, I don't know if it's the way the track's cooled down here, if they can make these better runs, as you still see those 2 guys out front battling side by side. You see Schumann about to fall a lap down as, he's trying to stay out of the way, gets into the wall a little bit. As you see Vincent Isabella is going to clear the 09 of Marabello, and he'll take the lead, but looks like, getting right back up to that back bumper. We're going to see maybe that caution clock come out. We did see the original caution come out, on the first couple laps there, the first corner. So it was lap 20 when it came out in heat number 1. So I'm expecting probably around lap 25 or so, we might see a caution. And it's like these guys are using the good up on the tires. They know they got a shorter run. They know they're going to have that caution clock come out. And they're trying to get whatever track position they can. As you see Riley Marbella trying to go to the inside of Vincent Isabella and trying to get that lead back from him.
And he's still trying to make that inside work, Mike. And for one, and what I'm noticing here, even with the heightened grip in the nighttime here at Kentucky Speedway, you cannot necessarily make at least convincing move all the way to the inside. You can make it work, but after a couple of laps of doing so, as you see Austin Beers getting put a lap down, there's the move back to the inside for Marabello to take the race lead once more. But while they were side by side, especially when Vincent Isabella was under there, he had to wash up the track, lay off the gas in order to give space for Marabello, the car up top at the time, and then when they made the switcheroo, the both of them switched places, it was the exact same thing. So although we've seen the inside be preferred on the opening runs, I think moving up the track, going up the banking is probably the best situation if you want to get some of those runs and at least keep your momentum defend position as well.
Yeah, I think we've seen a little bit better runs on the outside so far in the nighttime heat here for a lot of these guys. So it seems like that's kind of the preferred, or like you said, washing up the track, kind of maybe even giving these guys a little bit of a slide job. As you mentioned earlier, when Isabella almost got into the 09 of Rally Marbella, who is your current leader. And how about those two Cheaties trucks battling for the 4th and 5th position? That's going to be Kuzma in the 03 right ahead. We're on board with David Carpenter, who's having a solid run here tonight after in the second heat after getting in that wreck. But here we go. Battle for that second spot. It's those two teammates battling for the championship. They both want to do it for Big Kitty. Who's going to get it done? Right now, it looks like Vincent Isabella is going to get that run off the outside. Let's see if he maybe gave too much room for Barney, and he's going to get a good run and take over that second position as they hit the line. But Isabella hanging tough as hard as he can on that outside, trying not to give up that spot, but he will have to surrender the second spot to Barney here and try to gather up for another run. But you got to wonder how much these leaders are using. You see Barney kind of swerving all over the place on the backstretch, trying to defend that position, as well as trying to chase down that leader. But a lot of these guys, for how hard they battled, you know, tires might be a little bit less of a factor than what we've seen in heat number 1, but they're definitely going to play a big factor. And you wonder, for these guys that were battling in that top 4, you know, as we've seen earlier, how much is this going to play out before that caution clock does come out?
Yeah, and for one also to mention that we've gone a little while under the green flag circumstances, so now we have to wonder when the caution clock is going to come out and how long will it take before it ends up triggering itself, and then everybody will probably most likely get 4 tires and fuel to go all the way to the end of this race. We saw our first caution, which was the caution clock in the first race right at the halfway point, lap 20-21, almost around the lap number 25 mark, and we're already up to lap number 20, although we had an opening caution for this race. So we'll see if it goes a little bit longer and if it cuts even closer to the race finish. But as for the race right now, it seemed as though Marabello, he lost that race coming to the start-finish line in that first one to Austin Beers. And on this long run, I think he's looking for a lot more redemption. Beers with damage, and now Marabello taking control of this race with 25 laps to go.
Yeah, and keeping him kind of in the sights is that 00 truck of Blake Barney, maybe trying to get another charge. But we've seen what that 09 truck of Riley Marabello can do on the long runs. He was kind of the master at it in heat number 1. And if I'm going to guess, I'm just kind of guessing here, my prediction, I'm going to say lap, I guess 25 or 26 is when I'm going to predict that the caution clock will come out. But we'll see here relatively quickly as Blake Barney now getting a good run off of turn number 4, and he's closing in on the leader, but so far not able to really make a move, as it's kind of going to be a 2-truck race. And how about Chris Jordan? We talked about him, started back in 17th after getting in that wreck early on in heat number 1. You know, had an eventful race, working his way up, getting into the wall. He's able to show that speed once again, working his way up into that 5th position, putting his sights on the second Cheaties car. Got around the first one of David Carpenter, working around Charlie Kuzma here, trying to move up into that 4th position. As you see, even Vincent Isabella maybe falling back a little bit after some of those hard charges that he did earlier on, just a couple laps ago. So maybe this time of by, it maybe seems like, or maybe the track, the way the truck's handling it this time is benefiting that 4 truck of Chris Jordan, or maybe saved his tires a little bit better than he did in heat number 1. But right now making a late charge up to the front as we approach that caution clock, I'm assuming in a few laps.
And Chris Jordan, this is a very big comeback if he can keep this going for the final 22 laps or so. With the way that the first race gone, the first couple laps, we saw Chris Jordan as a contender to probably win this race or control, lead some laps of his own. He was very quick on the short one, and now it's in his own. On this fairly semi-long run here in Kentucky, he's starting to pick up the pace, and his truck is really coming alive. That number 4 Auto Owners Insurance truck, I think based off of Martin Truex Jr., the sponsor that he runs in the NASCAR Cup Series, and a truck that he ran not too long ago at Bristol Dirt in April. And now the caution comes out. So this is the caution clock definitively. And I guess that we were talking about it, Mike, for a moment of how long it was going to take. Well, it took to lap number 25.
Ooh, got it right. Yeah, here at lap 25, the caution does come out. Rally Marabello is your leader. So you got now these guys are going to get the fresh Goodyear Eagles on these race trucks, and they're going to do it all over again. I think we're going to see the battles that we've seen early on in this heat. And whoa, coming down to that caution there. Woo! Slowing up, everyone trying to stay off each other. It looks like they were able to do so. These guys are anxious and ready to win this race and battle it out here. But you see all the trucks diving down, following that 09 of Riley Marabello. Who's going to win the race off pit road? We've seen good pit stops from those ID Racing trucks last heat. Can they do it again? Who's going to win the race off pit road? I'm assuming a lot of these trucks, they're going to take those 4 fresh tires. I think we're still about 20 laps away, coming down to that question earlier in the broadcast. I think with this much race left, you're going to want all 4 fresh tires, but we'll see who wins the race off of pit road here. As you see them getting their service done. Cars getting jacked up. And we'll see Chris Jordan already working his way off pit road. Who's going to lead the race off? And good jump. It looks like Isabella got a good jump off the pit road there. And the 09 of Riley Marabello will lead him. It looks like Blake Barney did beat Isabella just by a little bit. But man, that was a pretty close race between those 2 ID Racing trucks. And oh, look at this. We do have a truck, the 91 of Dennis Weeks, staying out. But I don't know if this is a similar strategy from what we've seen from the 24 truck of Steven Schumann in the previous heat.
It might be, but one thing to note that Dennis Weeks was supposed to start on the pole for the first race. He was supposed to lead us to the green flag, but he did not make it there for the first race, so he was out in the garage as they were running those 45 laps. So now in this second race, he's brought himself back in all the way to the back of the field, and now he's going to stay out for at least 1 lap to lead, and he'll go down with Johnny Eckert. They'll both end up on pit road, so that'll switch the lead back to what is Riley Marabello in the 09. Steven Schumann also going to make a trip down pit road to get some damage repair and some service. So I think now, for the most part, Mike, that we're used to seeing the cautions at the middle of the races, at least so far tonight. We've already been accustomed to seeing one at the middle of the race. And now comes the big question as to, are we going to see another yellow flag soon? Are we going to see it near the end of this race? Or are we going to see it with about the same amount of laps that are left? Like we saw in that first race, are we going to get somewhat of a green-white checkered? Does Marabello have to kind of worry a little bit in order to maybe brace for impact for that kind of scenario?
I think he's going to have to watch out from his, his rear bumper out of his rearview mirror for sure. He's going to want to get a good jump. And we've seen that 00 and the 42 of Barney and Isabella, how they charge on the short runs after that first caution in this heat. And I expect the same thing here. So I think if we're going to see a caution, it's going to come relatively quickly from when we go back to green flag racing. I think it's going to get intense, and people are going to get that track position from, as we were kind of stating earlier, track position seems very important here tonight. And when we go back to green flag racing, it's going to ramp up quite a bit.
Yeah, it probably is. And what I'm going to be wondering here is that on fresh tires, is Marabello going to be able to hold on to this race lead? Because we've seen very big charges from both these ID Racing trucks. And how about Chris Jordan? We saw him ramp up to the 4th position in that number 4 Toyota Tundra. And now he's got a shot in the second row on the outside to make moves if things come to shove, or push comes to shove between the top leaders. So if anything happens between these guys, Chris Jordan might be on that pounce for position. We'll have another, I believe we'll go 1 to green this time by. Yes, indeed. Lights are on the pace truck. So we'll see how Marabello handles this restart. Going to try and execute, but he's got 2 howling ID Racing trucks on the outside of him and right behind him to give him the push.
Yeah, and I think one thing too that we've seen on that last restart is that Marabello, he did kind of perfect, the heat number 1, he was more of that long run guy. He didn't quite have the short run speed, but I think he did a real good job on that last stint to kind of combine the two. He worked his way up to get into the lead, and then he once he got that lead, he was able to kind of maintain that position, those good long runs that he's been known to have. So I think I'm hedging my bets. I think the 09 truck, he's got it figured out here in heat number 2. I think he's in prime position to get his heat win here tonight. But again, those two trucks, those two ID Racing trucks, even that the third one in I believe Chris Jordan's part of that team as well. That Toyota Tundra, they showed good short run speed. So he's going to have to make some quick work of them early on here. Get that good jump, like I said. We'll see if he can do so as we're getting ready to go back green here in lap 29. But I think he kind of learned on that last green flag run how to do it, and we'll see if he can get it done here as he's going to lead the field back to the green flag here. And the SR Designs 135, and he'll get a good jump on the 00. And the 00 is trying to throw a block on his teammate and championship guy he's contending for a championship with, as they all hug the bottom going down into turn 1. So it's probably the best case scenario there for the 09 truck of Riley Marbello, as he's going to try to keep those trucks behind him. But as you know, on these short runs, you can get very good runs on the leader here with the fresh rubber, and he's going to leave that bottom door open for the 00. Blake Barney, he's going to take a look. We've seen how good of runs they get on the outside, but Barney is there trying to stay alongside of him as long as he can, and Marbello will lead that lap. But he's got all he can handle right now from that 00, as trying to not wash up into him. He's going to try to do this cleanly here if he can. And looks, someone was either smoking. I don't know if they disappeared or contact might have happened there in the back of the pack. But Marbello right now, he's got two hungry Toyota Tundras behind him in Barney and Isabella. You see Isabella working his way up into that second spot. He's going to try to work on that lead from Marbello. But Marbello, I think he's kind of trying to get that run on the outside, as we kind of seen on that last run when we seen battled for the lead. You might get that short-term run as you see Isabella almost clearing the 09, but not quite able to do so. But I think he knows in the long run, that's where you kind of want to be to get that run off the corner.
You definitely do. We saw this right before, right? Where the 42 and the 00 tried making moves on the bottom side, and the 09 was able to defend. He's not going to be able to defend as much this time around. He'll have the push, and Blake Barney will try to peek in 3 wide. Once again, he'll have it to turn 1. 3 wide between 3 Toyotas for the race lead. Almost door-to-door contact between Isabella and Marbello, but the 00, Blake Barney, championship contender, to the front of the field once again.
He takes the lead, and right now the battle is still for second spot as the Isabella in the 42 and the 09 of Riley Marbello. They're trying to duke it out. Who's going to get the good run coming down right now? And man, it's crazy how Barney's been making that bottom of the 3 wide work a couple times here so far tonight in heat number 2, and he was able to take the lead, as now Isabella's going to file back into that 3rd spot behind Riley Marbello, and Marbello is going to try to take that lead back, as he didn't let the leaders get too far ahead of him. And I think maybe saving those tires a little bit, running a little bit higher that line, maybe not digging into the corner, driving in so deep. That's probably his strategy here right now. But can he get around that 00 of Blake Barney? We're about to find out as they come to lap number 34 of 45 here in the SR Designs 135. The championship 4 races again. You have the 00 truck and the 42. Those are your main 2 contenders for this championship. Schumann having that trouble early. He's all the way back into the 12th position, 2 laps down. So up front, your top 3, that's where the championship battle is going down. And Marbello, he's going to try to play spoiler and try to win his heat race. As you see up front, or out of his gyro cam here, looking ahead at Blake Barney. Now Blake Barney kind of getting that clean air. Looks like he's kind of got that position, but maybe he's still trying to throw blocks and fart around on the backstretch. See, there's David Westergren. How about that? Working his way up into the 6th position. Kind of getting that damage, or kind of finishing towards the mid-pack in heat number 1. Trying to get a good solid top 5 to end the year. I was just going to say he's had some bad luck with some contact, as him and the 03 of Kuzma make some contact. Everyone able to keep it going. But that's kind of the way Westergren's season has gone, has been with a little bit of trouble. So it was kind of fitting for sometimes how his races go, but he's fallen all the way back into the 8th spot. You see Schumann limping down on the apron there. But here comes Riley Marabello back trying to go for the lead. He's going to try to make that inside look coming to the line. As you look out the side cam there, you look at Big Kitty as Barney's trying to win that race for his fallen cat. Big Kitty, who's won him some races so far this year. Can he get another one done for him tonight? We're about to find out. But that 09 truck of Riley Marabello, he's got something to say about that, as he's trying to get that inside line to work. But as we've seen, it's tough to do, and that time around he's not going to be able to do so. So now he's going to switch it up, go to the high side, because Vincent Isabella's looking down low. He's going to battle for that second spot. And don't look now, Chris Jordan brought his number 4 Toyota Tundra right back into the mix of things as well. So now we got almost a 5-car race, as the 71 truck of David Carpenter, he's kind of lurking back there as well, as things are starting to heat up here once again.
And you saw Riley Marabello, he switched up to the high side where Isabella got that move to the bottom, because he had kind of sliced that apron and that yellow line all the way to the bottom. He'll make the crossover this time out of turn 4 with Chris Jordan to follow suit as well to give him that push. However, it was that slight tap of the apron that really sent him up the track and slowed his truck down in the meantime. So now Isabella will fall back to 4th. And you got to think now, 6 laps to go, coming to 5 laps to go in this race. The championship battle continues to heat up between the two ID Racing trucks, and any of these spots is indeed lost points at the end of the night. In terms of the race, we saw Isabella and Blake Barney finish in the top 10 in that first race. They're looking for it once more, but Blake Barney trying to steal it all and win a championship with about 6 laps left to go.
Yeah, right now he's in prime position to do so, as Vincent Isabella falls all the way back into the 4th spot behind Chris Jordan. And his truck might be fading here a little bit late in the run, as we only got about 6 laps, coming to 5 laps to go here. But the race battle for the win, can Barney do it for Big Kitty? Can Riley Marabello finally crack into victory lane? We're about to find out here in the closing laps of heat number 2 in the SR Designs 135. But right now, I mean, Barney, he took that lead, and he's kind of been able to maintain about 0.2 of a second on Riley Marabello. So it'll be interesting to see if Riley's got that long run speed that we've seen. And I think, oh, there he closed in. Oh, gets into the wall a little bit. Able to keep that momentum up, almost try to take a peek down, but on the bottom side, here he will. He'll take an inside look on Blake Barney, as Barney stays on the outside of the track, but right now still able to hold on to that lead. We're down to 4 laps to go. Who's going to get it done? I don't know if that didn't look like hard contact for the 09, if he could still make that one last charge to try to get to the lead.
He needs a big run here, and especially if he can get the push from Chris Jordan, that'll help out immensely. And this is to steal the win. We saw Marabello finish barely there, second to the driver of the 3 in Austin Beers. But now that he dominated a bit of this second race, and now that he is in position to possibly steal this one away, he has to execute in the final laps. Chris Jordan trying to take a look down low, but it won't matter for now. 3 laps to go from Kentucky. Here comes Jordan to the inside for second, as Barney still leads.
And here comes Chris Jordan. He's trying to redeem himself after the wreck he got involved in when heat number 1. And it kind of ended his promising night early after even getting in the wall a couple times too. He's got things figured out. He's got that bottom line hooked up. Can he get around Marabello? Maybe even get himself in a chance position to get a win. But Marabello's holding off on the outside, able to do so. That's probably the best news for Barney, even though they're not too far away. It won't take much, as we are 2 laps to go to get a good run and maybe contend for that lead. But right now, coming out of turn 2, this is usually where Marabello gets a good run. If he doesn't get in the wall, ooh, almost gets in the wall, able to stay off the wall there, going down to the turn 3, coming down to the white flag. Does Riley Marabello have one last move, one last card to play in his deck to try to steal the win away from the 00 of Blake Barney? Here we go. Is it going to be Big Kitty? Is it going to be Riley Marabello? Or is Chris Jordan going to try to make one last move here? We're about to find out, as we are in the final lap coming out of turn number 2. Looks like right now not a big enough run there for Riley Marabello. He's going to try to drive in deep to see if he's got one last ditch effort, but it looks like the 00 truck of Blake Barney is going to come down to take the checkered flag for Big Kitty. He's going to get it done. He's going to win the race and the championship in honor of Big Kitty. Blake Barney is your 2021 Season 1 OSCA Truck Series champion. What a job for ID Racing and Blake Barney.
What a job indeed. ID Racing in total. But for Blake Barney stealing the show at the end of it all, taking the win for Big Kitty and taking the championship home as well. And what has been a season that got lit on fire near the mid portion, where he got some wins of his own, ran up front, got some well-needed points, put himself in a position with the most wins coming into this season at 3. And now he finally gets to celebrate, adding to his win column and adding to his championship column, checking out that box. Finally, a win and a championship as he'll burn it down here under the lights.
Burn it down indeed, well deserved. You know, doing this in honor of the fallen crew member Big Kitty. As you see, homage on the truck there. As you see all the ID Racing teammates paying respects for the champion as he's burning it down here, getting the win and the championship, doing what he had to do to get it done. Blake Barney getting that victory here in heat number 2. What a race. Able to hold off the hard-charging Riley Marabello, who again finishes in that bridesmaid spot, second spot for him. Chris Jordan 3rd, Vincent Isabella 4th, and David Carpenter came home in the 5th position. As you see, a lot of the ID Racing guys paying homage to Big Kitty there, while Blake Barney's continuing to burn him down. And we're gonna get some interviews knocked out while those guys still celebrate here. We got heat number 1 winner Austin Beers joining us in here in the chat, and I know he's going to be excited here to see one of his teammates get the championship on Blake Barney. But again, the short track kid turned into the mile-and-a-half kid here this season, the OSCA Truck Series. You're able to pick up heat number 1. How does it feel to pick up another heat win and also see Blake Barney do it for Big Kitty?
It's amazing that what he accomplished. Just rest in peace, Big Kitty. That's a vital part of everybody's lives. Big Kitty was a huge part, and it was sad to see on Friday that Big Kitty passed away. But I'm glad Blake won in Big Kitty's memory.
Yeah, it was that was pretty awesome to see there. But yeah, a good night for you, and well, for you in the first race. The second race, you got involved in that trouble early. On the short run speed, man, you looked like you were flying through the field. Had to feel pretty good to get that heat 1 win. Did you think you were able to, or do you think going into heat number 2, did you have a shot at maybe before getting in that trouble, pulling a sweep here tonight?
I was really hoping to do that, but unfortunately my teammate Vince Isabella junked half the field. So it is what it is. I was glad to get the win there. You know, it took 2 tires. I wanted to take 2 tires to see if it'd work in the second race. Unfortunately, I didn't make it that far, but it worked out. I thought I was a sitting duck on that last restart, but I was able to hold them off, and it worked out.
Yeah, how much tighter did the truck get, or how much different did the truck handle taking the 2 tires versus, maybe 4 tires there at the end?
It actually turned a lot better, and that's what really got me to the lead. I was able to get to the outside of I forget who it was for the lead there. Dallas. I was able to get to the outside of him pretty easily with those 2 tires, and he didn't take any tires, so that was a pretty big advantage. And then kind of pulled away until unfortunately that caution came out, but still held them off for the win. So I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah, it was a good run, and awesome to see you get one final win and turn yourself into the mile-and-a-half kid from the short track kid. But Kenneth, you got anything for Austin?
Well, now, Austin, things move forward. I mean, now we have the end of the season. Things are going to start to wrap up. Champion is already crowned, your teammate, and of course you and of course the rest of ID Racing probably very happy with how this season went out. So now it'll be a question about the future. Now that OSCA Truck Series is going to go into Season 2, you got a couple of wins this season. You had a lot of momentum on your back. What's going to be that mindset? What's going to be the game plan going into next season when you start to kick things off?
Next season I'll try to point race a little more. Unfortunately, I couldn't run for points this year. I missed too many races. So next year I'm going to try to maybe win the first race and then not wreck on lap 1 of the second one. So I'm going to point race a little harder. And just contend for wins still. I still want to win a lot of races, but it's a very tough league to win. So to get 4 or 5 wins this year, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, amazing indeed, and hopefully we'll see you in contention for a championship next season for the OSCA Truck Series. But to wrap up this night for you here, you can go celebrate with your teammate and celebrate yourself for your victory as well. Any shout outs you want to give though?
Shout out to you guys. You guys had a great broadcast this whole year. It's pretty amazing to, you guys even impressed my dad, and it's hard to impress him. So you guys did an amazing job. I'm thankful that you guys were able to put on such a nice broadcast. Vic Bloom for creating this league. It's such a fun league to race in. And then ID Racing, Vincent Isabella, and Shane DiMantova for getting me a good truck every week. And Big Kitty, rest in peace, Big Kitty. That's truly gonna be missed.
Yeah, we're gonna miss the calls that Big Kitty made week in week out for ID Racing. That's for sure. But go celebrate your victory and have a good night. Good run, man.
Thank you.
You bet. That was Austin Beers, winner of heat number 1 here tonight in the SR Designs 135. Trying to get him back into, well, I think brought it back to the wrong room there. But next up, we'll bring up, we got quite a few guys wanting to be interviewed here. We'll bring a few of them. Next up, we'll bring the guy who finished second in both heat races here tonight. We'll bring in the 09, not 09 of Riley Marabello. And Riley, man, once again, you came so close to getting that heat win, unable to do so. You had 2 ID Racing trucks that you came so close to beating, but wasn't able to get it done tonight. Was there anything different that maybe that could have brought you into victory lane?
No, I'm not really sure about that. I feel like maybe if I just saved my tires a little more, I probably could have been able to pass that 00 and the 3 in both heats.
Yeah, so saving tires seemed to be a big factor here tonight, but and it looked like even beginning parts of especially heat number 1, you were kind of the master on the long runs and closing that gap between I believe the leader was Shane DiMantova at the time. But not quite able to get around him. But in that second heat, you seem to kind of balance it out a little bit between the short runs and the long runs, especially early on in heat number 2. But was it kind of on that last run? It seemed like maybe the 00 and the 42 kind of forced your hand a little bit to maybe wear your tires out a little bit quicker than you wanted to.
Yeah, that's basically what happened. I would say I described it perfectly. I had to battle Vince for that second spot there so I could clear from him, possibly go and chase down the 00. Blake, by the way, congrats to Blake on winning the championship and the race tonight. Great for him. Same with Austin winning heat 1.
Yeah, it was then doing it for Big Kitty. He's been a vital part of ID Racing, so that was kind of cool to see them get the win here tonight. But yeah, hopefully next season here, I think we're gonna see you break through into victory lane. You've come so close so many times here that I think you got to be ramped up for season number 2 starting, I believe, June 3rd.
Yeah, I sure am. I'm ready to get back in the truck and run in season 2 of OSCA. I'm really excited for it and looking forward to it.
Awesome. But Kenneth, do you have anything for Riley?
Well, I'm going to bring it to Riley, the way you performed in the last 2 races of the season. I think that's probably one of the best notable parts of your season. You've shown a lot of promise. You've shown a lot of great racing between battles. But those final 2 races, I think they probably were in the spotlight the most because you were in Texas fighting for the race win over and over, fighting for the race seed, dominating. And then here you lead a lot more laps. You don't end up getting the win, but you sure did show that dominating prowess. And we talked about the comparisons between the way Texas is and the way Kentucky is in terms of track built. Did that kind of help you a little bit with the way you performed at Texas, knowing that Kentucky was just a little bit similar, that you were able to dominate and be able to run as quickly as you did tonight?
I would say so. Texas and Kentucky, they're very similar. Here's the thing, though. It's like Texas and Kentucky, the only difference is basically turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are swapped. So you know how like Texas 1 and 2 is flat? Well, in Kentucky, 3 and 4, it's flat. And then at Texas, 3 and 4 is banked. And then at Kentucky, 1 and 2 is banked. And you can carry more speed through there.
Yeah, and yeah, I think the similarities of how you ran really well in both those heats in Texas a couple weeks ago, and you did bring it here tonight as well. So it was good to see you up front. Hopefully we'll see you in victory lane next season. But with that, as we wrap up this season, any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Wyatt Dooling, owner of Redemption Motorsports, for giving me a great truck tonight and putting on a great paint scheme on the truck. I'd like to also shout out Snowman Studios, his company that he owns. Go check out Snowman Studios on Instagram. If you want any iRacing paints, just DM him. He'll give you some quotes. And I'd also like to shout out the Laugh Lap. Go check out @the Laugh Lap on Instagram for some great NASCAR content and great NASCAR memes.
Ooh, I can second that one. That's some good stuff there as well. But yeah, again, congratulations on a great night here tonight, and way to wrap up a season. And we'll see you June 3rd for the start of season number 2.
All right, thank you, much appreciated.
You bet. That's Riley Marabello finishing second in both heat races here tonight. But now, without further ado, we'll bring up our champion, heat number 2 winner. That's going to be the 00 truck of Blake Barney. And Barney, I got to ask you here that it had to feel good to win this heat number 2, win the championship, and especially racing with some heavy hearts here tonight. It's got to make it feel a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely awesome result. It's always nice to win the championship and win the race at the same time. Yeah, we had a good truck tonight. Definitely took me a little bit to learn Kentucky. I haven't ran here in a while. First run, in the first race I dropped back to 5th and just was kind of learning, trying to save my tires. And yeah, just a really good race. And I just consistency has been where I've been lacking all season, but 3rd and a 1st when it mattered is really good.
Yeah, it was very good tonight. And one interesting note that we were kind of pointing out, it seemed very hard to pass on the bottom, and there was a couple battles ahead of you. I think it happened at least twice in heat number 2 that guys were battling side by side. The guy on the bottom might have been Vincent, might have been Riley battling on the bottom. And they weren't quite getting that run off, but you just drove it down in there 3 wide and making it stick on the bottom. How did you get that done when it was kind of harder to pass in the bottom here in heat number 2?
Well, I mean, the bottom through 1 and 2 was really good. I'm not sure how I was able to keep the grip, especially because I entered so low when I made that move, but it all worked out. But 3 and 4 was definitely better on the top because you could just keep up the momentum. It's definitely weird learning this track because both corners drive completely differently, but just able to adapt over that. And yeah, it made for some exciting racing. It was a little bit hard to pass, but it had its moments where there was a lot of action. So
yeah, a lot of action. You provided with some awesome 3 wide racing there. But I guess even just describe how does it feel to win this inaugural OSCA Truck Series Championship? That's gotta feel pretty good.
Yeah, it feels awesome, man. I've had a lot of fun this season. Watching your guys' broadcast and just racing and racing with my friends. And I got a great team at ID Racing. A lot of good people, a lot of good friends. We give each other tips and advice and definitely build off each other to get faster and faster every week. But yeah, man, it feels great to win the championship. Definitely feels great. Yeah.
Awesome. But Kenneth, you got anything for Blake?
Well, Blake, I mean, this season showed not only prominent for you and the 00 team with your handful of wins, the most wins out of anybody this season, but with the way you guys in ID Racing kind of put on that show, you guys kicked it off from Daytona. You guys had Shane Mantova as a part of the team win the first race of the team in this series, and then ever since, you guys kind of had that fire and it never seemed to have died out. You guys kept going, and then even as the season started to progress forward, it seems as though the pressure did not really hit you guys at all. Does this mean that this championship is a little bit sweeter, knowing that you were able to be probably the most dominant driver in this entire series in the season, but also the fact that you and your team were able to dominate in this way?
Yeah, definitely. Our team did great. We always had consistent finishes, and Vince did a great job this season. Really, really good job. He was very consistent, and he had a lot of times where he was a really fast truck and definitely challenged me. Also, Austin Beers did a great job. He got a good number of wins. He wasn't available for the playoffs because he joined a couple races late, but I'm sure he would be right there if that were the case. Chris Jordan, Shane DiMantova. Chris has had a really good run tonight, and yeah, I love racing with my teammates. It's fun every single week. We all hang out. We have a good time, and to get good results out of that is definitely a huge plus. And it's pretty awesome. I got this team their first championship tonight too, and we're definitely gonna share the love between all of us and celebrate it.
Awesome, yeah, because I think ID Racing. I think immediately going into season 2, at least one of you guys are probably going to be the championship favorites going into next season. But what kind of momentum do you think that you're going to carry with how you ran, to end the season off with the championship for next season?
Definitely good momentum. I mean, hopefully we can get some more guys in here next season, and hopefully they're able to challenge us, and we have good competitors. But we'll definitely have that advantage knowing how everything works in the league, and some strategies that we can do on these shorter races with the caution clock and everything we used to race in that. But yeah, hopefully we can get some more trucks and get bigger fields for next season. So we can put on. I mean, I thought we were putting on a great show, but it's always nicer to have more trucks and more competitors and new faces. So.
Yeah, hey, if you're out there watching, want to join up, contact Vic Bloom or contact on Twitter at race_OSCA. Join the series. That's for sure. Challenge Blake Barney. See if he can defend his title. But with that, before we let you go and celebrate the championship and the race victory here tonight, any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, I noticed you Goody always shouting out Big Kitty. He just died last Friday. He was I think 16 or 17 years old, so he definitely had a good life. I've had him since I'm 21 now. I had him since I was 5 years old, so definitely you guys at home know how pets are to some, good pets, bad pets. They're still going to love you at the end of the day if you had a good or bad day. So he meant a lot to me, and it was awesome to be able to put him on the truck and have a little fun and a little play at it, and honor him. But yeah, I just got to shout out ID Racing. Obviously, we talked a lot about them. A lot of good friends, a lot of good people. McConey Setup Shop. They make the best setups on iRacing. If you're looking for, if you run Open Series and you're looking for a setup, McConey Setup Shop is a great place to buy some. And yeah, that's about it.
All right, yeah. Again, congratulations, and glad you were able to do it for Big Kitty. I know he's been a big part of our broadcast too since you kind of opened the door to him. So it's kind of for at least us up here in the booth. So and even the people watching at home, Big Kitty I think meant a lot to a lot of us. So it was awesome to to get that championship and for in honor of Big Kitty here tonight. That's awesome. But again, congratulations on season number 1, OSCA Truck Series champion, and have a good night and go celebrate with your teammates, man.
Yeah, thanks guys. Love the broadcast. I watch it every week, and it's really entertaining. So I hope you guys enjoy it home too.
Well, we'll do. Yeah, we enjoy broadcasting. It's fun. But again, congratulations there to Blake Barney on the championship, and Kenneth with season 1 now in the books. I think. We'll take a little time off. June 3rd, I believe, is the slate of the second season, and I think the action can only ramp up from here. We've seen some amazing action so far here in season number 1, but I think all in all, it's been a good year. Can't wait for season number 2. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it definitely should have. And with the way this season goes, I remember looking at the series. The first race, we were kind of getting used to the format, kind of getting used to the fact that it was 2 races and sort of practice warm-up in between, and with the way the caution clock was, or the way the formats was for all of these races, the inversions, everything, you probably never expected the series to go the way it has, and with the way it has pretty much clicked off from the opening season, I think this is a very big success for Dallas Myhan, Vic Bloom, all the guys that make this possible, and it was amazing. I think for you and I, Michael, watching this up in the booth, watching some exciting truck racing at different tracks, showing all the different dramatic sequences that would go down with the inversions, with the caution clock, with everything that would happen at all the different sim menus. It was certainly a sight to behold this season. I can't wait what things happen for season number 2, but for now, I know Blake Barney, so happy, well-deserved title here tonight from Kentucky.
Yeah, that is for sure, and yeah, like you said, I think for us watching up here in the booth, you and me here, Kenneth, it's been probably just as exciting for a lot of the guys that put on the show, and I think we've probably had just as much for the people that do watch at home or wherever they might be watching here on KBRN. But it's been a good season. Can't wait for season number 2 to kick off, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun joining you up here in the booth, and again, all the crazy action that we got to call it. It's been certainly a pleasure to do. But with that coming up here on the KBueno Network on Friday, May 7th at 7:25 p.m. Eastern Time is going to be the CRL Cup Series race number 12. It's the finale at Atlanta, so be sure to tune in right here on KBRN to tune in for that. And then with that, for Vic Bloom and Dallas Myhand at the OSCA Truck Series, and for Charlie Baier at the KBueno Network, and for my colleague up in the booth, Kenneth Bueno, I'm Mike Goodman. Thank you all for watching tonight's broadcast from the SR Designs 135 from Kentucky Speedway, and congratulations once again to the OSCA Truck Series inaugural champion, Blake Barney.